Hello, y'all. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming back. I hope you're not mad at me over the last couple of videos. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to any new subscribers. And I hope any subscribers that I had before I started doing these last couple of videos, I hope you didn't disappear. If you did, I'm coming back. I'm gonna come looking for you. Come back home. Come back here. This will be my last and final installment on my three-part video on what I'm calling the imposition of Christianity. And this one is not just Christianity, it's religion as a whole, I would say. If you haven't seen the last two, I would suggest you start there. See the first one, then the second one, and this one, so that you can go in order and catch yourself up to us, catch yourself up to us and to the understanding as to what I am discussing. And that is a better representation. This one would be more of the better representation of your religion in general, Catholic, Christianity, Muslim, whatever yours is. Whatever, I'm okay with that. I'm okay, whatever yours is. So having said that, I'll probably focus on what I have seen mostly, and you have too probably in the news, and that is so let's get started properly. Hmm. I strongly believe, and I'm sure you may too, that it is important that if you're going to be an ensemble of your religion or your religious belief, that you just walk that walk, that you don't have to be in prayer mode all the time, you don't have to wear a cloth, you don't have to carry your Bible, you don't have to a person on the back with the track all the time. But you should stay ready. You should stay ready to have a kind word for someone. Now, this is just me how I think in general, and hopefully to some degree live my life. I have a kind word for someone, to be a good representation of it, just be a good ambassador of a good human. Just be a good human. Now, do we see a lot of that? We don't see a lot of that. And so the question is, how effective are we in our walk, I would say. And for me, I often look at the representative. I look at the head. Um, you see, if you go to a person's home, you see how the household is ran, even if you're just there visiting. I remember going to when I was first in my career, where I had like a real job instead of someone saying, "Thanks for watching our kids, here's 20 bucks." I was a babysitter for a long time. I think that's why I'm so good with people in general. I was a babysitter for a long time. And I did care for kids. I played with them and all that. So I was a good baby. I was a good babysitter. But nonetheless, my boss had invited all of us, and he was pretty well to do. He was up there. He had invited all of us in a big department to his home for dinner. And I was just surprised at how many kids he had. But he's Mormon. He's Mormon. And he had lots and lots and lots and lots of kids. And when we got there, it was very clear how rambunctious they were as kids. But when we went to the dinner table, how structured they all became. They were very well mannered. That dinner table meant something to that family. And that stuck with me. I also recall going to another friend's house, and this is just a friend. And they were pretty, I would say, economically well to do. And they were travelers. They were the kids that had the passports back in the day. But they were just horrible they talked back to their parents, they were disrespectful, they did all kinds of things. And I thought, you'd never get away with that in my house. You know, uh-uh. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. And I remember this same friend of mine of that family, she would come to my house and she would just dote on my mother. And she would love eating dinner with us at our house. And she would just have so much praise to say for my mother. And I would say, she's all right. I'm used to her. She's all right. But this one person was looking for the structure and the appreciation of a mother she saw at our house. Because at their house, they were disrespecting the mother. They were just talking back and everything. Now, I have given attitude to my mom, but I've never disrespected my mom, even to this day. I've never used profanity in front of my mom. I've never. So I'm giving this layup, I'd say, as to how the conduct is in the environment that's most dear to you, which is your home setting. Now let's look at that in a church setting. There is a standard, what I would call a standard operation for conduct in a church setting. You shouldn't have your phone on, you should be attentive, you should be dressed well, you should come ready for prayers, you should know when to be silent and all. There's a practice even for the church. And I would say that it would be expected that you walk that walk, that you talk that talk, that you live that life, that you should let your little light so shine, that you are a good ambassador of Christ or whomever. I'm not going to jump back, but like I said, whatever your religion is, tie this into that. That you are a good practitioner, I'd say, of that. But just like these homes that I told you I visited, that's not always the case. Just like in my last video, two young women who were in their early 20s basically started speaking in tongues and cross cursing a woman because she wanted nothing to do with their Jesus, as basically because she felt, look at the world, where is he, kind of thing. I look at some of our church leaders. So not just the church itself, not just the attendees themselves, because I look at the divorce rate. There's no difference in the church than there is in the world. I look at the arguments and disagreements between people. There's no difference in the church and in the world. I look at how the conduct is, and there's no difference in the church and the world. So I bounce that up to the leadership. Just like I said earlier, my friend liked to come to our home because they disrespected her mother in her home, and she appreciated how we disrespected my mom and we respected my mom in our home. You don't get away with that here. You'll never get away with that. Trust and believe that. So let's look at the church in that regard, the head, the leadership. I look at some of them and it is disgraceful to me. People like Jimmy Swaggart, who was sleeping with prostitutes, and he led a church of thousands. People like Joel Osteen, when there was a Katrina type level hurricane, and he refused to house people in his 10,000 square feet or whatever, huge, humongous, no stadium size church, and would not house them. People like T.D. Jakes, T.D. Fakes, I call him, T.D. Fakes, who's hanging out partying with Diddy, P. Diddy, at these parties by which there's the Diddy party, and then there's the private party, then there's a real private party, and he's in all of them. Is that good representation of Christ? Would that be okay? Would that be okay what Joel Osteen did? But nobody calls them out on it. How is it they get a pass? The silence of the church parishioners is disturbing. There was two well-known pastors who were cheating on their spouses with each other. I mean, they have major flocks. I failed to write their names down, so I can't remember. One is called, oh, I don't want to stop my train of thought to look it up, but I'll put it in the description. I'll put it in the description box. But huge, huge church. And they were sleeping with one another. Is that a good demonstration? You're ahead of you lead people. You're supposed to be an example. More than an ambassador. And the first things people say when I bring that up is, well, they're just human and you just have to pray about them. No, you don't. You have to call them out. Use your ambition of your courage and call them out. Literally and figuratively out. No, I'm not being mean. No, I'm not being difficult. This is why people say, well, if this is what the church is, I might as well stay in the world. You see. Bishop Eddie Long, rest in peace, sleeping with all these men. One after another after another. This is a married man. Jamal Bryant, thousands. He's had several churches. Married to, at one time, Giselle Bryant of the Real Housewives of Potomac. And he was having woman after woman. It's it. And all of a sudden, they just get a pass. Now, he recently got married again. But they get a pass. This conduct, this behavior, these ways, they get a pass. No one says it. No one called. No one. The clergy project. Who's running over? Who is the ambassador of the ambassadors to call them out on that? And so many have women on the side. It's disgraceful. It's disgraceful. And everyone who's a member of those churches should hold those leaders accountable. You know what they can't? Because you know what they'll say is, you don't like it, you leave. No, you leave. You're not being a good example. You're not being a good example. Don't come for me. Truth is truth. Don't come for me. Truth is truth. Where is your righteousness? Demonstratively, behind closed doors, deep into your basement, beyond what we can see. When the cloak is off, where is your righteousness? I can't put myself around it. The truth is the truth. And people often say, who are you to judge? Not to judge, to present. To present in such a factual way, you can't deny the truth you just heard. Although it is repressing you, disturbing you, it's inconvenient, it's hard, it's harsh. It has nothing to do with the messenger. It has everything to do with the reality of the condition by which you call church. Really. And I will end with this. Rest in peace, Bishop Carlton Pearson, who cemented the success of many through his Azusa conference back in the early 90s. And when he adjusted his religious lens and became what he called more woken conscious, expanded consciousness, he was called a heretic for that. And all the ones that he put on the platform wouldn't open the door for him. Now look at most of them living in a hell of shame. T.D. Jakes would not, right before Carlton Pearson died, and you can search this for yourself. You can search this for yourself. Right before Bishop Carlton Pearson died, he visited T.D. Fake's church. And T.D. Fakes wouldn't even allow him to sit in the minister's pool. He said he can find himself a seat out there. You know what? God don't like ugly. And to do not touch my prophet. Do no harm to my prophet, even if you think you are one. Okay? So I know this is a heavy talk, but the reality is everyone needs to be held accountable for their conduct and their behavior. No one is outside the reach and the hand of God to do that. And if you see within the congregation of your church something so movingly disturbing, to remain silent is the last thing you want to do. And I'm just saying, I love you, and I hope you've gotten this far. Please click like, please click subscribe. If you do leave a comment, let it be respectful. And no one is always right, not even me and my opinion of certain things, maybe not even this. But the facts are the facts, and I just presented them to you. Just the facts, Jack. And I love you. If you've gotten this far, please click like, please click subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.